Hello and welcome to One Called Mama. I am your host, Samantha, and thank you for joining me today. It's been a week, you guys. It's not been an easy week. And I want to talk about not coming into agreement with things that aren't in alignment with your purpose. It's a lot of big words, a lot of nots and yeses and do's and don'ts. So let's break this down. And I will be completely transparent with you because that's what I do with y'all. And everything I do, I am so transparent to a fault almost. I didn't know what I was going to sit down and talk to you guys about. Literally turned the camera on and thought, okay, God, this is going to have to be you because I have no idea what I am supposed to bring to them today. And this is what we're going to talk about because this is very relevant. And I hope, I hope that this is very relatable. Not that I hope that you struggle with this, but I hope that you find something in this that you can pull from. When we go through difficult seasons in our life, we begin to second guess what the Lord has put on our heart to do. This is, I think, a natural part of the process. I feel like this is common because I hear this from other people. I hear other people share their story and that this is part of the story, that they get to a point where they are doubting their decision or they're doubting that they heard the Lord right, that maybe he didn't actually tell me this. Maybe he was actually meaning something else. And I misunderstood it. Or maybe I wasn't hearing the voice of the Lord at all. Maybe the enemy was talking to me and I heard him instead and I misunderstood it. We can start to really unravel our position as a daughter of Christ and then where he has placed us specifically. So I want to give an example because I think examples are important. Stories matter. And all I have to pull from is my story. So I'm going to share my story. I sat down in a coaching meeting, a 4.5, 5 hour coaching meeting in person with someone I deeply admire and respect about 2 months ago. And I sat down in that meeting for one purpose and I left that meeting with a different purpose. And I knew I was supposed to meet with her. I knew that I was supposed to go and meet with her. I knew that this was something the Lord wanted me to do. He had confirmed it. He had put it in my heart to reach out to her for one thing, and it led to me scheduling this. It was confirmed that I should do this because of how things fell into place, because of things that I read or saw in the days following, and it lined up. So I have this meeting and I leave this meeting with the impression that I am to write a book. That was something, an important step for me to take was to write a book. Was writing a book on my radar? No, not at all. It was nowhere near on my radar. I am a much better speaker than I am writer, and I don't enjoy writing. It is not something that I find enjoyment in. I know a lot of people journal and that is healing for them and is helpful for them. I don't find the same satisfaction in journaling. So I leave this meeting with the impression that I should write a book, that I should also write a blog and other things. So I start the process of looking into what would writing a book look like? What would I need to do? What are the steps that I need to take? And so I start this process. I go down this path. And lo and behold, I'm a couple of rough chapters in, very rough, not anywhere near finished. And I start to doubt this. I hit a little bit of a roadblock, not even like a full roadblock, but just some potholes, like it just gets a little rocky. And here I am doubting that I've made the right decision. Was this really what I was supposed to do? I mean, I went to this meeting for something else entirely and I left thinking that I should write a book. Well, that wasn't even what I wanted to do in the first place. So maybe I'm really not, maybe I jumped the gun. Maybe I didn't pray about this long enough. Maybe I shouldn't have taken this leap. I mean, this was probably a mistake. I should back out. Before I make a fool of myself anymore, before I I spend any more money, before I spend any more time, I should back out. I should just focus on writing the blog and doing some rebranding. I should just focus on building out what I already have. This is too much. This is the question that I have to ask myself continually in the moments where I feel very weak and I feel very discouraged and I feel very uncertain. When I felt the Lord told me to tell me to go to that meeting, he already knew what was going to come out of that meeting. So if he knew what was going to come out of that meeting and that what came out of that meeting was that I should write a book, then isn't that the confirmation that I should do it? It's so easy. It's so easy to be manipulated by our own thoughts, by our own fears, and from the enemy. Because then we come into agreement with doubt. We come into agreement with what we're not good at. I'm not good at writing. I'm not a very good storyteller. I just don't know that I made the right decision. I think I was wrong. It is good to admit when we're wrong, and I'm not saying we shouldn't. I want you to hear the nuance. What are you coming into agreement with? What are you saying and coming into agreement with? I'm not talking about manifestations. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the enemy listening and us coming into agreement with what the enemy is telling us and the lies that he is giving us and the spirits that are associated with those things. If I say that I am not a good writer, then I'm coming into agreement with a limitation that's self-imposed. Could I learn to be a good writer? Yes. Could I practice and get better at it as I write the book? Will I get better? Hopefully. I think the answer is yes. Is it difficult to get feedback that I wasn't expecting or a little bit of pushback? Yes, that's difficult, but it's also part of the process. It also makes me better. And if I'm doing something, any sort of creative project, any work that I'm doing, hopefully it will make me better. And pruning is just in and of itself a little bit painful. I want to share another story. Right after the conference, the 414 conference that I told y'all about last week, and my whole experience there, the deliverance, the being baptized in the Holy Spirit, one of the things that I felt that the Lord told me, and I remember the moment I was at the coffee shop, I was working, I had met a young woman, and she came in, and I spoke with her. A really neat moment happened between us, and then she left, and I felt the Lord tell me, I'm bringing you these women. You need to bring them together. Those weren't the exact words, but I'm kind of just giving you the feeling of, because sometimes the Lord will not speak to me necessarily. It's not like I can hear verbatim a sentence. Sometimes I feel and it's like something that's impressed upon me. It's like an emotion or a feeling, not an emotion. It's like a message relayed in understanding that isn't spoken. It's the best way that I can put it. You know how there are languages that words don't translate. It's just it resonates something so deeply that another word in another language can't capture it. That's sometimes how it is when the Lord speaks to me. And the impression I had was that I need to start hosting women's events, bringing these women together into one room where they feel safe, where they can be seen, where they can be heard, where they can have fun and they can relax. And it be just a couple of hours, but that's all we need sometimes is just that. And so I knew in that moment that was something that I would needed to start doing. And so I started thinking, okay, well, what are the strings that I need to pull? What are the first strings that I need to pull to do this? And finding a place to do it. I need to pick a date. I need to find, for what I'm wanting to do, I need to find a couple of vendors. I need to find a sponsor, one sponsor, maybe two. That would be awesome. And so I started thinking about what strings needed to be pulled first, and I pulled them and they fell into place beautifully. Now, what am I about to tell you? Based on the story I just shared, what do you think is going to come out of my mouth next? That I started doubting this decision. I started feeling scared, started thinking, what am I doing? I have no idea how to host an event. I've never done it. What women are going to enter this space? How am I going to pay for it? How am I going to accommodate all the different women that are going to be there? How many? I don't know how many are going to be there. And I started playing through the what ifs. Why did I even make this decision? I'm trying to write a book. I have 2 podcasts. I have a family. I have a house that, if I'm being completely honest, is a disaster. There's just little messes all throughout the house, and it drives me crazy. And I feel like I am just such a disappointment. To who? I don't really know. To myself, I guess. The kids need my attention. They need their mom. They deserve their mother. They deserve to have my attention. But I also need to cook, and I need to have things ready, meals, healthy, good meals that the Lord has given me the ability to provide for my family. And that is my responsibility. Do I do it all the time? Is it an everyday thing? No, but it is something that I have a responsibility to do for my family, for my husband, and for the kids. I need to be welcoming when my husband gets home. I need to be engaged with him. I need to have a space for him that is warm and inviting, and isn't that he's going from one chaotic mess at work, because he has a very stressful job, and entering right into another one. Now, do I have days where I've had a really rough day and it's not really expected of me to just like show up in a certain way? Yes, of course. He doesn't have an expectation on me that I have to be in a certain mood or have a certain image or anything. But I need to be able to greet my husband. I need to be able to hug him and give him a kiss and welcome him into the home and let him know that he's entering a safe space. So I'm overwhelmed. I'm feeling the weight of all of these different things, all of these things that I've taken on. And I'm thinking, okay, now I just need to back out of all of it. I need to not write the book. I need to not host the women's gathering. I need to just stay where I'm at. This is good. What I'm doing is enough. It's enough. Why do I have to do more? All I can tell you is that I remember the moment. I remember the moment that he made it clear to me that he wanted me to do this.
Hey guys, so I was editing this episode and want to throw in a quick caveat to what this episode is about, because I think it's important and I think it's something that I missed when I was originally recording. Sometimes we can make a mistake and we can feel like we hear from the Lord to do something or to take a certain action, and we get into it and we realize that that is not in alignment with what we're supposed to do. There can be a couple of different reasons why this happens. I think sometimes it's important for us to go through moments where we see that something isn't for us, and that's part of the plan. And I think sometimes we just get it wrong. And that's upsetting. It was upsetting for me. So if you find yourself in the midst of something and you thought originally that it was from the Lord, but now you're thinking that maybe it wasn't, that is a moment that you should acknowledge. You should stop, you should pray, and you should discern. And that is key. And you will know, I am confident you will know if the Lord is telling you that this is something you should not do. This has happened to me, and I think it's important that we mention this. My point for this episode specifically is that when you do know that the Lord has told you to do something, that you don't begin to doubt it. There is a difference. And for me, like the story that I shared at the coffee shop, when I knew that the Lord impressed upon me that I needed to start hosting events for women. It was very clear. It was very plain. It wasn't external from someone else telling me to do this. It was from Him, and I know it was. The book was confirmed and validated. I had multiple reasons to go to that meeting. It was confirmed a couple of times from the Lord, and then the book has fallen into place. And That, I believe, is the Lord validating, and He will confirm and validate when He tells you to do certain things. It will happen, and especially if you ask Him to confirm it, to validate it. If you find yourself in a place where you feel like maybe this was the wrong decision and you have reason to believe that, then seek His counsel, ask for discernment, and He will give it to you. I felt like this was something that I just missed in tonight's episode. Just wasn't on my radar, but I just wanted to put this out there and acknowledge that that is an important thing to do if you really do feel like in this situation that you're facing maybe is not what the Lord has for you. That is valid, and that is something you should explore. So, all right, let's continue.
The pattern I'm seeing is that I will receive a new directive from the Lord. And then after my yes, and I've gotten confirmation, I will take some steps forward and something will get hard inevitably. And then I will want to quit because I will start doubting whether I was hearing the Lord in the first place. Do you know how sick I am of getting to this point? I'm sick of it. And I don't want to come into agreement with doubt anymore, with the spirit of doubt, with the spirit of fear. I renounce that and I rebuke that. That is not of the Lord. That is not what He has for me. And it's not what He has for you either. And I'm gonna be very honest with you. It's gonna be hard. Every time you give the Lord your yes, it's going to be hard because the enemy doesn't want you doing it. He doesn't want you saying yes to the Lord. And when you say yes to the Lord, He's going to start making it hard. And then you're going to find that you're going to get outside of your comfort zone. And that's just hard enough on its own. And that's just part of it. We don't have to blame everything on the enemy, but the battle is real. So I'm not going to let you forget that either. But hear me when I tell you that the process isn't supposed to be easy. Nothing that Jesus went through when He was here on this earth was easy. If it was not easy for Him, why on earth would it be easy for us? So, in all honesty, when things get challenging, we should look at that as, oh, I'm going in the right direction. This is the right direction. Y'all, I need to hear this. I need this message. This is for me. And I hope there's someone out there listening who's like, yes, I'm in that boat. That is where I'm at. You're not in it alone. I think the thing I really want to drive home, and then I'm going to leave it there, is that we have to be very careful with what comes out of our mouths. We have to be very careful with what we are coming into agreement with. I want you to think about that. And maybe if you're this type of person, log these moments. If you are paying attention to the words, be very aware of the words that are coming out of your mouth and the thoughts that are in your head. Write them down just for a day. Write down what you think and what you say. Not everything, that would be impossible. But those moments that were really hard, what did you say to yourself, to your kids, to your husband, to your coworker, to your boss? What did you think? What did you think about God in those moments? What did you think about yourself? I think it will paint a picture and it'll be very telling. We so often think that we are facing a battle that is too big for us. And yet we already have victory in Jesus. Victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. He sought me and bought me with His precious blood. He has already claimed the victory. We just have to be still. We just have to be obedient. We don't have to fight. We have to put on the armor of God. And we stand firm. And we pray. And we seek His next thing that He wants us to do. And we act. When He says be still, we're still. When He says move forward, we move forward with confidence, not doubt, not fear. Let's all come out of agreement with that. So when you make a decision, when you give the Lord your yes, no longer are we, including myself in this, no longer are we going to start second guessing that decision. We're going to remember it. We're going to mark it. We're going to write it down on our calendar and be like, this was the day that I said yes to the Lord. This was the day, and I'm not going back on it. This may get hard. It may get messy. More than likely it will. And that is fine. Messy is fine. Today was a day where I spent a lot of it doing what I needed to do, meal prepping, doing the dishes, the laundry, but I was exhausted. And for about 2 hours this afternoon, I laid in bed and I would get up, periodically. The kids would inevitably need me. And so I'd get up, go help them with something, and go right back to bed. I'd get up, I'd go help them with something, and go right back to bed. And it's not that I really slept, but I rested. And I had some very wise advice from a friend of mine whom I shared what I was struggling with and where I was mentally. And she said, just set it at his feet and walk away from it for just a little bit. Just let yourself rest. And it is okay. It is okay to rest. It's okay in those moments where you feel like you can't get clarity, you don't know what your next step is, you don't feel like you have any sort of certain direction. It's okay to just lay it at his feet, be honest with him and with yourself, and just rest. Just rest. Lay down, unwind. And I'm not going to even say watch anything. I'm going to say be still and quiet. Don't fill your mind with anything. Let it rest. Something that I have started to become more intentional with, and this is in a way related. I find myself very tired lately, just so tired. And yes, I probably need to go to the doctor and get a physical and all of the things and make sure all my levels are right. I have been making the decision to not eat late at night now, not because of calories, not because of wanting to be a certain size, but because if you can give your body at least 13 hours, and that's really stopping probably around 7 p.m. and then not eating again until 8 a.m. Give your body 13 hours where it's not having to digest food. And that while you're sleeping, it's not having to digest food. This is a very excellent way, a very easy way to let your body actually rest while it's sleeping. Because I didn't know this until I got very serious about health and fitness and lifestyle and things like that years ago. And then it's kind of ebbed and flowed. But your body, it takes so many hours to digest food. And so if you eat something late at night while you're sleeping, it's having to work. So it's not actually resting. So be intentional, not just with your mind, but also with your body. If you aren't in a place where you feel like you can start exercising, even though you should move your body, you should be lifting weights, just minimal stuff. Be intentional with when you're eating and how late you're eating. This little change might give you that extra energy that you're needing, and give you that true rest that your body is needing. I know that seems a little off topic, but I feel it's important to share. We need to take care of ourselves. And for a good stretch there, I would say probably, well, off and on for the last several years since I've had kids, I've not taken care of my body. I've not eaten right. I've not been active. I've not exercised. And I've let a lot of things be an excuse for that. And I'm tired of feeling the way that I feel. So I've decided to do something about it. I've decided to feel stronger, to do things to make my body healthy again. And I mean, throw the whole physical appearance out the window. Let's just take care of ourselves. Let's just be intentional. Take care of your physical health as much as you take care of your mental health. and always, always, always feed your soul. That's all I wanted to share with y'all for tonight. If you have any prayer requests, I would love to hear them. You can email me at onecalledmama@gmail.com. You can also leave comments below, and I would love to hear ideas, suggestions for future episodes, topics you would like explored. I would always love to talk about that. So please leave me those suggestions. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. I have a second podcast that is a YouTube exclusive, and you can go over there and check it out if you would like. It's called Coffee with a Catholic. And yeah, please follow me, friend me, message me. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, I will see you next week. Have a wonderful week.